Hello. My name is Special Blessing, to be exact, and I would like to welcome you to the very first episode of the Lessons Heard podcast. Today, our topic is going to be intentions. But before we do that, I'm going to kind of formally introduce myself and talk about the things that I would like for the podcast to be able to accomplish, or the space that I would like to create by making this podcast. So we're going to go with that first. This is a podcast for people who are learning and growing. This is a podcast for people who feel alone. This is a podcast to say that we're all just figuring it out. And I was nervous and really hesitant about doing it in the first place because I felt like I didn't have anything to say, or the things that I had to say weren't necessarily valid. But I think that it's time, and it's bigger than just myself. So here's the first episode. Now, during this podcast, the objective is to be vulnerable. So sometimes you'll see me cry, and that might be kind of often depending on who the guests are, because I be a little bit emotional sometimes. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna learn things, that we're gonna grow. We're gonna figure it out together. So just so you know, you're not alone in any of this. Everybody struggles with something. Everybody goes through something different. And hopefully, something that I say will resonate. Something that one of my guests says will hopefully resonate for you. And we're gonna take it for what it is. So, intentions. The thing that got me started, I guess, in feeling like this should be the first episode topic. Well, let me say, first of all, I've recorded the first episode about 4 or 5 times, and I never felt like it was good enough. And it's been over the span of a few months, but intentions came to me because I feel like I was in a space where I was isolating myself a lot because I was unsure of other people's intentions, or I was unsure of, and even had to check my own intentions on some things. I'm a learner, so we're gonna do definitions, or we're gonna do all kind of things, to help make learning more possible. So intention, according to the dictionary, is a thing intended for aim or plan. In medicine, an intention is the healing process of a wound. And then another definition is the fact or act of intending, a person's design, especially a man's, in respect to marriage. We'll deal with that a little bit later. And then intentional is also a little bit different. So intentional is done on purpose or deliberate. So done on purpose or deliberate. So when we're talking about being intentional or checking our intentions, I believe that one of the first things we need to do is realize who we are, and realize what we're dealing with when it comes to what we're looking to receive when we are checking somebody's motives. Also not forgetting to check our own, because a lot of times we're quick to point the finger at somebody else and say, what they did was wrong, or what their intentions were, what their motives weren't necessarily the purest. But I believe that life is kind of an exchange. It's about giving and taking from other people and from yourself. So when you're looking at intentions, you can't just look at one side of things. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at both their intentions and yours. You're looking to get something from them just as much as they're looking to get something from you. And being intentional, I feel like when you're focused on that, it takes a lot of work, because intention to me is in the details. So I work at a COVID testing site right now, and I used to always say have a good day, and I still do. By no means did that change, but I have also added take care in that, because have a good day, you know, that can come from anybody. And not to say that people shouldn't, but you know, have a good day, that's regular. People say that all the time, but I feel like take care is a little bit more intimate, because when you're telling somebody to take care, I feel like that's telling them to take a second thought in the way that they do things, and take a second thought in the way that they process things. Also reminding them to take care of themselves, because now with the way that things are in the world, it's really difficult, and it's really sometimes a feat to try and feel that you deserve to even take care of yourself. That's one of the biggest things that I struggle with. Feeling like I deserve to take care of myself. And of course, I mean, outside of the realm of like going to work and, you know, doing the normal routine stuff, taking care of myself, like, you know, oh, I want to go to the park and go for a walk today. I usually have to kind of force myself, you know, to do things like that, or to do nice things for myself. But I believe that the more I create intentions to do that, and the better I create intentions to take care of myself, the easier it is for me to allow other people to do the same thing for me. Because you teach people how to treat you, and how can you teach somebody how to treat you if you're not even sure of how to treat yourself? So for me, this entire year, being intentional is about giving myself the space to do things that I didn't think I was capable of. This is one of those things, or one of the things that I doubted myself on being capable of. But I'm doing it. So I'm doing it afraid, I'm doing it nervous, I'm doing it unsure of what's gonna come as a result, but it needed to be done. And so my encouragement, or one of the things that I would want to say to you, is to take a little bit of extra time, take a little bit of extra effort, and think about what you say before you say it, because words are powerful. Not only verbally are words powerful, but also when you write them down. And I you know, believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I read the Bible a lot. Well, not as much as I should, but you know, I read it. And one of the things for me when I study is I'm attentive to words, and I notice a lot that, like, it is written, or it says, like, you know, speaking and writing things are very important and very powerful. It seems like that seems like one of the best ways to get intimate with God, and with yourself. So I do write, I do, you know, journal, and I'll record little videos to myself, or you know, record little videos to myself. I mean, that's, and in that I have found that I'm able to go back and kind of discuss with myself the things or the experiences that I've had. I'm able to capture kind of the growth that I experienced in a certain time frame, if that makes sense. I'm able to correct the things that I didn't necessarily notice at the time. And that's really big for me, because I feel like oftentimes people are quick to point the finger, like I said earlier, at other people, but rarely do you get the opportunity to, or rarely do people take the opportunity, because I won't say it's not given, it's always a chance, but rarely do people take the opportunity to look introspectively and see, this is what I could have done better, because because the reality is you can't control anybody but you, and trying to check other people's motives or intentions gets kind of exhausting because you'll never really know. The only person you can control is you. And so you just make sure your intentions and your motives are correct. And it doesn't necessarily mean that just because yours are, that other people that you interact with, theirs will be the same. But I believe it's more likely of a chance that if you're genuine and if you're as authentic as possible, if your intentions are pure, then it's more likely that you're going to get positive people surrounding you. So this week, well, technically last week, but I had to make a decision, right? And I wasn't sure about how I should go about it or what I should do 100%. I was kind of on the fence, because one of the things that I questioned was a person's motives or intentions. But then after a conversation, after a lot of conversations actually, I actually had to come to terms with the fact that I hadn't really looked 100% at my intentions, or I wasn't 100% honest with myself in regards to my intentions. And I had never given myself or that person the chance to really allow things to just be. My intentions were to kind of take control and get what I wanted without completely listening to the things that the person was saying to me. And I mean, I heard, like, I heard, but I understood, but I didn't necessarily understand. And I didn't really give the space for that to be whatever it was going to be. I did my best to force it. And one thing you cannot force is somebody to do something that they don't want to do. It doesn't work. So I now am in the place where, okay, what I need to do is work on my motivations and how I was approaching the situation, and see what I can do better, and see how I can be a better person in regards to this situation, and really give it the chance to just be, to a certain extent. And it's not to say that it's not to say that controlling the narrative sometimes isn't a good thing, because like I said earlier, you teach people how to treat you. But also I think in this situation, trying to control the narrative kind of made things something that they shouldn't be. And so I feel that it's necessary to take a step back and kind of correct myself and just allow things to flow however they will. So after the conversation, I kind of got a different perspective on not only my intentions but theirs. And I can say that that was a good thing. That's why open and honest conversations are really important, because you never really know. I mean, and even in that, I don't 100% know if what they said was true, but I choose to believe, that the way that we went about the conversation and the way that things are going to go moving forward are going to be intentional, I guess, to say the least. I'm going to intentionally check my feelings before I reach out. I'm going to intentionally see if there's something that I can provide for myself before I reach out, to make sure that I'm not just reaching out to get something from that person, to make sure that I'm not just, trying to take. And it's not necessarily that, like, when we talked or whatever, that, it was like, well, this is what's going on with me, and I need this, I need, whatever. Like, there was mutual conversation, but like I said, I'm the only person that I can control, so I have to check, okay, what are you looking for from this conversation? Are you reaching out because you're trying to fill a void, or are you reaching out because you just genuinely want to see what it is and how things are going and make it, rather smooth, I guess, or to kind of just maintain a connection, and I feel like that's gonna be work. And it also puts me in a place where I have to look at other things around me, because I believe that when you're looking at something, or when you're analyzing, things, and you're looking to grow and get better, tests don't just come in one facet. They don't just come from one specific person, or they don't just come from one specific place. You're not going to get tested on, how do I say this? You're not going to get tested on one thing in just one area, because usually they coincide with one another on several levels. So in me checking my intentions, I've come to the realization that I need to be patient. And patience is something that is a lesson, like I said, in several areas. I'm impatient while I'm driving. I'm impatient in that situation. I'm impatient in my living situation. I'm impatient in getting responses from God. And sometimes, and I feel like most often, I'm impatient with myself, because I feel like I should be further along in certain things, or I feel like things should be different, or I feel like I shouldn't be struggling with certain things. But everything happens for a reason. And I believe that God's intentions for me exceed my own. So even when I'm feeling frustrated with myself, or different situations, I'm choosing intentionally to take a step back and say, but you know what, at the end of the day, no matter how I feel about this, God's still in control, and this is just temporary. There's still something to learn from this situation, and there's something to learn from every situation. So if you look and try to find a lesson, I feel that it'll be, if you look and intentionally try to find a lesson, it'll be a lot easier to go through the things that you experience than if you just, I guess, wallow in your feelings, because that's one of the easiest things to do. Get caught up in, how unfair something is, or how angry something makes you feel, or how your feelings are justified in certain things. But intentionally saying, what am I supposed to learn from this, can be really difficult sometimes. It can be really tough, because when you're dealing with your emotions, you don't necessarily even want to try and learn something from it, especially the fresher it is. It's tough. It is tough. But the sooner you learn the lesson, not necessarily the sooner it'll be over, but like the sooner it'll be over, So check your motives. Check your intentions. You can't control anyone else's motives or intentions. give yourself the space to make mistakes while correcting your intentions. And then ask, what are you supposed to learn from those? And I think that by doing that, we can all make spaces better, not only for ourselves, but for the people around us. And that may not necessarily be the intention initially, but we need each other, you know, and nobody's supposed to do life alone. So, you know, be a little bit kinder to people, be a little bit more understanding. You don't know what other people are going through. You don't know other people's journey. So don't try, do your best intentionally to be kinder and to consider the possibility of what someone else could be dealing with before you just go off, or before you react and respond to certain things. Yeah. This has been the first episode. I don't know how long I expect these to be moving forward, but I believe that you can find value in any amount of time. People do it with 30 seconds. So, you know, we're not gonna keep letting stuff run on if I don't have nothing else to say. So, and that's being intentional with my time and yours. So, yeah, I hope to do these weekly, and I will see you guys next week. Take care of yourselves. Be considerate of others, and remember to put in a little bit of extra effort to be intentional this week. Have a good day.